I've spoken a couple of times before on here, I think, about presence. Here I'm referring to theatrical presence, although it might be to do with other things as well. And what I think I've been up to with that is talking about how presence is, and indeed other terms like charisma or the X factor or something like that, how we could speculate that it's something to do with the kind of evolutionary account of it. If presence is the ability to attract attention and to sort of manage that attention, if you like, then an evolutionary account of that would talk about what kinds of person would it be important to give attention to. So potential sexual partners, providers of security, nourishment, potential threats, individuals who are unpredictable, those kinds of behaviours. It would be important as a spectator, if you like, to pay special attention to those kind of things. So it's a small jump, I think, from that to thinking about attributing that attention to the object of your attention. In other words, if somebody is attracting my attention because they, on a subconscious level, they're presenting one of those features, then it's a small step to say that person has this particular property called presence. And then I think it's almost spoken about in that way by Weber when he talks about charisma. So why did I start talking about this? I think I was interested in that, you know, how that might be, if there's any truth in it at all. There's no guarantee there is, but how that might be interesting operationally, how one might take that hypothesis and develop strategies for the enhancement of presence or something like that from that observation. And one of the things that I'm thinking of in those terms is to do with, I guess, something like mindfulness, something like a particular relationship between one's body and mind that a person might have. And the reason why I'm going to that is that one of the qualities that a person might have that would benefit close observation, in other words, one of the things that might attract our attention, and that we might attribute presence as a result of, might be to do with a certain kind of demonstration of control. Certainly in our evolutionary history, if we were sort of adaptively prepared to notice particular individuals according to certain properties they seem to have, then it would certainly benefit us to notice those people who seem to have greater control over their environment and greater control over their own bodies than others, because those are the people who could potentially aid us in our own survival ambitions. Those people who seem to be decisive, those people who seem to be single-minded. I say people, this is probably animals really. I suppose if I was in a wolf pack, or if I was in a pack of bonobo chimps or something like that, and there was one particular bonobo chimp who didn't seem to be divided in his ambitions or divided in his activities, that's probably the chimp that I would regard as worth emulating, as worth paying attention to. So, does that map onto anything to do with human behaviour, and what's the role of mindfulness in that? Well, if mindfulness, and there's no guarantee, I'm making a huge leap of faith here, if mindfulness and the practices of mindfulness as embodied in things like Vipassana meditation, or maybe something like Qigong or Tai Chi, something like that, if that those practices allow for the control of proprioception, the mobilization of a bodily awareness, which allows the body to not necessarily be under greater control, but to be less divided and less scintillating in its responses to the world, less fragmented, less multivalent, and more kind of united. If they do, then the outward effect would be possibly to produce a kind of composed appearance in the individual, in which there aren't lots of little telltale signs of a divided mind, lots of little flickerings of the eyes, lots of little awkward pauses and catches in the voice, lots of stumbles, all that sort of thing in an ideal world would disappear, and you would get the appearance of a person who has this kind of preternatural control, ipso facto somebody worth watching or watching out for, and then possibly from that a kind of sense of presence might be attributed to that person. Okay, well, there's lots of mights in that, but there's a possible mechanism there, and the suggestion of some thoughts and ideas for how that might be investigated, maybe.